Hello, beloved. It's Transformation Tuesday, and we're here to talk about why you don't feel like you have a clear vision yet. All right? So, as you know, last month I had an incredible, the highest vibration room I may ever have been in. I had this live event right down the street in Berkeley. I called it Upgrade Your Money in Your Life. And basically, it was I broadcast a magnet, an energetic magnet, to get those who know they have an empire of the soul within them, and those who are ready to start letting it out. That's who I had in the room. And one of the things that I taught them was that there are really only 3 reasons you haven't built the empire of your soul yet. So the first reason is that what you're trying to build is not in alignment with who you really are and why you're really here, right? You maybe are setting your vision or goals based on your conditioning or your programming or what culture says is the right thing to set instead of what your heart, spirit, true self really wants. The second reason is that how you're trying to build it is not in alignment. So you're out here trying to do marketing the way that Rachel Rodgers does marketing, or the way that Brooke Castillo does marketing, or the way that Alex Hormozi does marketing, instead of doing things, finding the way that you came here to market based on your unique human design, your unique archetypes, Jungian archetypes, secret money archetypes, your unique attachment style, your unique history with trauma, your unique expertise, right? And the third reason is that you actually are trying to take steps to build the empire of your soul, but you keep, every time you get a quote unquote bad or unwanted result in your business, a product doesn't sell the way you needed it to, you don't hit your goals, your revenue goals, you can't stay consistent on your social media, your launch doesn't hit. Every time you have a bad or unwanted result in your business, you hit one of your inner spiritual, emotional, psychological upper limits, and you dive down into this shame spiral, into this low frequency sort of vibration that says that unwanted result in your business means you are a failure, or means anything about you, actually, instead of it being what it is, which is just a signal that your strategy is not right. It's not the right strategy, not the right execution, not the right marketing, not the right offer, whatever, right? So because these 3 reasons, and misaligned how, a misaligned what, hitting your upper limits and not having someone like me who come back and grab you up out of that that low frequency and bring you back without you spending years spinning your wheels in the shame spiral. When we see all the time in business, this is why people are set out here setting goals they hate. People are out here creating businesses that they hate. People are out here creating whole calendars and whole lives. Like, hey, I'm super successful in this business, but I don't like all the stuff I gotta do every day to get that way. Or they're not even able to get successful because their wise inner being is like, nah, fam, that ain't for you, right? So in the wake of the Upgrade event, I've been talking with some of the Wonder Women who were on site. These are people who you meet them and you can feel it. They have the energetics of empire about them. They have the destiny for greatness all over them. You can feel it. They have great genius within them, but it's still within them. And I've been, talking with some of them about why, like so I had this call the other day with one of these women, and I was like, she started telling me about all this sort of a little bit scattershot kind of, I'm doing this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm like, wait. Okay, but let's step back. What's the vision? What are you creating here? And she said, I'm not really sure what I'm creating. I don't really want to set a vision right now, because I'm just learning my human design, I'm just learning my archetypes, I'm still cleaning up my life. I'm still cleaning up the way I've been living my life and trying to get in alignment with that. And she's afraid to set a vision in this season. All right, so I wanted to talk about that today, because it is true that as you go on the journey of reparenting your inner child, as you go along the journey of what we call self-mastery at Soul Tour, right? Recalibrating out of the trances of fear and scarcity and worthiness and trauma, healing your heart, shifting into awakened and empowered paradigms and worldviews and belief systems, right? Deactivating your limiting belief systems, letting that shit dissolve. Then coming into a place of actualizing your true sacred self, which first means understanding, meeting your true sacred self, unlocking all that inner gold, learning your archetypes, learning your human design type, learning your strategy, learning your authority, all of that stuff. Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, whatever self-discovery system it floats your boat, and then setting vision based on that. And then aligning, right? Creating a whole life and a whole business that aligns to who you really are and why you're really here. Those 3 steps: recalibrate, actualize, align. As you come from recalibration, the healing part, right, into actualizing, understanding who your true sacred self really is, and setting a new vision for your life based on that, there is a stage at which it is appropriate and metaphysically correct to clean some stuff up in your life, right? Maybe you're, I'm just gonna use human design terms. You don't have to know them, but you'll get the feel if you've ever done any self-discovery work. Maybe you're a projector in human design like me, but you were conditioned as a manifesting generator. That's a very common pattern. Many projectors end up ill in their 30s and their 40s physically because they've been working like a manifesting generator, and they don't have the energy to do that. And there's only so long you can work against your energetic blueprint before shit kind of starts to hit the fan, fall apart a little bit. So many projectors need to take a break. They just need to rest, right? They may need to stop doing business the way they've been doing business. Sometimes you hear projectors will, change jobs or blow up stuff. And there's a time and a place where it's appropriate for you to do a little cleanup work once you start to understand your true sacred self and your gifts and your wiring and the blueprint of you, the unique configuration of energies that is you. It is appropriate to start to, clean a few things up and stop doing some stuff that you've been doing the way you've been doing it. All right? And with that said, it is really, really essential that you not fall prey to the voice of the oppressor, the enemy of the people, in the form of perfectionism that says you gotta set the right vision from jump. That says you should delay, you should press pause, you should wait to be working toward a clear vision, intention, or goal until you've done all that cleanup for a number of reasons. Like, first I'll say this, that cleanup is a process that lasts a lifetime. You will constantly be creating and uncreating, creating and uncreating. I'm gonna talk about that with you in the next Transformation Tuesday in the message called Die Daily. That is part of an awakening soul's journey, is to constantly be creating and then optimizing by uncreating what no longer serves, shedding what no longer serves, and creating more in alignment, all right? So there's never a time when you're not doing that if you're doing it right. But I wanted to call out that there is a sort of a woke flavor, an awakened, there is an inner critic, perfectionism, self-repression, self-silencing dynamic that is masquerading as awakening when we refrain from setting a clear vision, clear goals, clear intention, because we think we need to get our lives more together first, or clean our insides up first. And it all, like all other perfectionism, like all other forms of procrastination, like all other forms of self-silencing and self-repression, it is rooted in fear. It is rooted in fear of building the wrong thing and then being, ashamed or embarrassed publicly if you have to unbuild it. It's the fear of setting the wrong goal, setting a manifesting generator goal when you're actually a projector. That's what I call a fear of repeating the mistakes of the past, right? There's a fear of setting a goal from your trauma, setting a too small goal. These sound like really awakened, intentions that you want to have as you set goals and set vision and set dream and set course for building the empire of your soul. There's a fear of building a business you hate, building a life you hate, having to tear it all down, right? All of those things. But as she was talking, and those things, like I said, they sound very like the right intentions that you want to set, some guidelines and some guardrails you'd like to set as you begin to set course for building what you came here to build and becoming who you came here to become. But the reality is, if it stops you from moving forward at all, if it stops you from setting some kind of a vision, some kind of an intention, or some kind of a goal that is as aligned as you can get it to be right now in the state of awakening that you are in right now, then very often what's actually happening is your inner critic is just fighting to stay alive. And your inner critic is actually telling you, you don't even deserve to set clear vision yet. You should refrain from doing that so you don't repeat the mistakes that you've made in the past. And let me tell you how I know that that's what's happening. Because let's say maybe 6 or 7 months ago, I went to Esalen Center to a spiritual workshop to see this author whose books I've loved, I've worked through, I've met her once before, I've taught her books in the School of Self-Mastery at Soul Tour. I really loved her work. She was coming to Esalen, which is an hour and 15, 20 minutes from my house. And I decided I would go see her. So I went to see her, and she really does not talk about herself as a spiritual teacher. She was like kind of anti-spiritual in a way where I was like, all right, I'm gonna eat the meat and leave the bones of this. But she was, there was a thing that kept coming up where I was noticing within myself some resistance or some friction against what she was recommending we do. And what she was doing was she was saying, like, you got to be really, really specific about what you want, and then do XYZ technology that she teaches, modality that she teaches to get it. And I noticed that I was having a lot of resistance within myself about the idea of being that specific, right? Where I was like, I don't know. Like, these days I'm all about infinite spirit, show me the way. Right? These days I'm all about sitting and like using my 4-part daily ritual that I teach to my students to download, receive the vision, and be really flexible in what the how we get to the vision looks like, right? So that, which requires you be spacious and flexible in how you set your goals. These days, I'm really into that vibe of not trying to be the director of the universe, not trying to be super, super controlling. As I've learned and realized, as my own trauma healing has happened, my dreams have upgraded and upgraded and upgraded and upgraded, right? What I want from life, I have started to require more from life and God in this universe and all of the people around me, and they have delivered, right? And so sometimes I reflect on a thing that I used to teach, which is that you can't set an expansive goal from a constricted place, which is probably why these people are now showing up saying, gosh, well, but I don't feel expansive. I don't feel like I'm all the way awakened and in alignment with who I really am. I don't feel like I've cleaned my life up enough. So maybe I shouldn't set goals at all. And what I realized as I was sitting in the little meditation hut at Esalen, which is literally built as close to a waterfall as you could build a building in and have it not be in the water. I mean, it is majestic among the California redwoods on the Pacific, a majestic Pacific coast. And I would get up, at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and just sit and journal. And I got clear that what was coming up for me was actually a symptom, my resistance to being specific in setting the vision, in setting the desire, in stating the vision and stating the desire, was a symptom of the trance of fear. It was a symptom of the trance of trauma. It was a symptom of my fear of repeating mistakes of the past. And I even journaled it out. I said, I think I don't want to get super specific about setting a dream or a vision or a goal on that subject, because I did it. I did that before and I got it and I hated it. And then I had to undo it, right? And then as I kept writing, I was like, and also that process of setting the vision or the goal, getting after it, creating it, hating it, that process on that subject, it was something I had done maybe 20 years ago. That process was how I got clear on what I do want. That process was how I learned what I know now. In that process was how I developed my own methods and modalities, the self-mastery method, the inner critic archetypes, the self-mastery archetypes, my creator's hour daily ritual, right? The idea that spirit and strategy go together. All of these things that are now the empire of my soul, that are changing other people's lives and their families' lives and their children's lives and creating legacy level wealth. That's how I created all that stuff, right? That's how small, setting a vision, realizing it's not what you want, that's how small, you got to go after it to know that's how not what you want. And when you, like Abraham says, if you know what you don't want, every time you know a little more about what you don't want, you know a little bit more about what you do want. All right? Setting a vision, any vision that's available to you, that feels good to you in this season, and getting after it is how you start to trust, radically trust that small things do grow. It's how you build the skills you will need for the next season. Had I not started the vision that I had for Soul Tour 5 years ago, it ain't gonna look nothing like what we actually are creating right now and what we will continue to create. It is a vision so big and so delectable, it will blow your mind if I shared it with you, and I will soon. But if I had waited until I was at this level of healing and alignment and actual self-actualization and self-mastery and mastery of my gifts and my skills, then I would still have all these years ahead of me of like getting clear on what my customers want, building mastery and expertise at teaching. This is how you do deep, slow, integrative, spiritual, personal, and business development work. Is you set a vision that you give yourself permission to want what you want right now, and you fearlessly start taking steps to create it. You tune into what feels like alignment now, and you know that it's all an experiment. The vision that you set right now, the goals that you set right now, the products that you launch right now, the branding and marketing that you launch right now, the book you try to write right now, all of that stuff is in the process of becoming what it will eventually be. But you can't withhold permission to yourself to even have a clear vision or dream and expect progress to happen, because it won't, right? I have, over the last 5 years, built relationships that now I can call on, that I wouldn't have if I had waited till I was quote unquote healed. You know what I mean? To build. This is how you do, actually, this is life. That's the ultimate epiphany that I had as I was journaling at Esalen in the meditation hut. And if you've been to Esalen and you saw the sign on that hut that says no journaling inside, my bad. This is what life is. Life is a process of giving yourself permission to want what you want, to go after it, and to become who you're becoming by what you learn as you go after it, right? And sometimes, a lot of times, you will have to deconstruct some of what you've constructed in the last season to create space for the more aligned, more beautiful world that's available to you as you get more and more and more healing under your belt, as you get more and more and more clarity on who you really are and why you're really here, as you get more and more and more and more whole, as you reclaim and get access back to parts of yourself that were shut off from you by childhood repression, that were shut off from you by trauma, as you recoup that were shut off from you by simply living a life out of alignment with your design, right? Sometimes you will have to tear some pieces down to create space. That's just life. Can you let that be okay? And while it's true, and here's a principle I want you to catch, while it is absolutely true, I've taught this forever. Every New Year's for years, I taught an intention setting workshop that literally changed people's lives. And I would teach as one of the first principles that you cannot set an expansive, spacious, delicious feeling vision from a contracted, constricted, self-silencing, self-repressive state. So the upshot was, do some ritual, do some practice, and get in a place of expansiveness, get in a place of high vibration energy before you start setting your dreams and goals. Don't set them from, ugh, I hate this about my life, here's what I need to fix. Set them from, ooh, like I have fallen in love with this piece of my unique gifts, or this vision, this piece of a vision for my future, and I want to create toward that. So yes, it's true that you cannot set an awakened and aligned and expansive vision, intention, dream, goal from a constricted, self-repressive place. But here's the epiphany. Sometimes the only way to get to the awakening is through the restriction, through the constriction, through the self-repression. You've heard them say that a million times in the yoga, Buddhist kind of world, right? Sometimes the only way out is through. You gotta to get to the awakened what? To get to the understanding of the awakened, aligned thing that you are building, you may have to go through some iterations, some revisions on what it is that you think you should be building. And you're not even starting that process as long as you're telling yourself that you're not ready yet because you don't feel like you're totally aligned yet in your inner being. All right? You can't get to the awakened understanding of how to create your business, usually without a couple of passes at like the conditioned or not self, we would say in human design, the conditioned way, the programmed way. It's precisely by trying to build that way that you learn that ain't the way for you, right? You can't always get to your upper limit breakthroughs without hitting your upper limits. All right, you gotta let them download to you. You gotta cultivate them. You gotta let the awakened vision be created through you and come to you. And usually that happens in the process of setting out to create something less than the awakened vision, right? And taking the natural next step, letting the next thing light up, building the skill here that you'll need over here. All right, so in other words, I said all those words to say this: you gotta start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere. We're talking about building the empire of your soul. It's this, elevated, expansive thing. And some of the principles you have to adhere to get on this journey of building the empire of your soul through self-mastery, they are so simple. Like, you gotta start somewhere. Like, small things grow, period. So that's a word for somebody who doesn't like the idea of starting small. And here's another simple principle. You gotta start somewhere. You gotta learn to trust. You gotta just give yourself permission and learn to trust that your wise inner being, which is the voice of God that speaks to you within you, will use whatever version of vision, dreams, goals that you can reach for, that you can have access to in whatever state you are right now. God will use it. The divine source spirit, all that is, will use your less than awakened, less than aligned vision, intention, goals to heal your heart, to get it in alignment, to get you and your beliefs and your spirit recalibrated, right? To get your wholeness back to you, to magnetize the wrong people and the wrong people and the wrong people and the wrong people until you click, learn, recalibrate your heart, and then the right people and the right people and the right people and the right people and places and things and opportunities and all the help in the world to fulfill them and all the energy that you'll need to make the most of them. All right? It is precisely through the kind of misaligned, or maybe 50% aligned and then 60% and then 70% and then 90% and then, right, aligned vision, intention, and goals, that all of that healing and all of that growth and all of that development happens. You have to know that. All right? So while it is true that you cannot get to the awakened vision, intention, and goal from the constricted, contracted, misaligned place, you can't get here from here, but you can get here through here. Because the empire of your soul is not just a thing that requires a bunch of work from you. The empire of your soul wants to do work in you. There is a career within you that every version of your vision for your empire is doing within you. It is doing work within you. And it will, if you allow yourself to just set the vision for now, if you allow you and tune into alignment, get some help, because people like me can actually accelerate you through this process so it's not quite so painful, so you don't have to go through 20-25 years of iterations on it, right? You can kind of shortcut some things. But the only way out is through. You gotta let yourself go through. You gotta let yourself decide what you want for now and let that be good enough. Let it be good enough, right? That's how you heal your heart. That's how you let your empire heal your heart, right? And when you do have that healing and when you do get into alignment, if you've done it this way while giving yourself permission to take the steps and move forward on the less than 100% alignment thing, when you get here, you'll find that you already have all the components that you need to build the empire. You won't have to start the process of upskilling, start the process of expanding your capacity to get help, start the process of understanding how to delegate effectively, start the process of brand, start the process of audience building. You won't have to start from scratch here if you just give yourself permission to start here and let the journey, stop trying to control the universe, and let the journey take you where it wants to take you. Let the journey do its work within you. All right? And I'm going to say this last thing as I sign off. I'm going to ask you to hold within you a paradox, a spiritual paradox, which is this: that the cultural story lie of time scarcity that says you're always behind, or you're too old, or you're too late, that's a lie. And I invite you to reject it, all right? And at the same time, there's a reason that like Seneca the Stoic and Ram Dass the Buddhist all said, live with death on your elbow if you're Seneca, shoulder if you're Ram Dass. Because this life is beautiful and lavish and luxurious and long, and I'm going to be here another 100 years, and y'all will probably too, because I've already decided and placed the cosmic order for other friends that will be sexy when they're 150 years old. And this life is finite, and if you're not taking the steps to create what you came here to create now, when you gonna do it? If not now, when? I'll leave you with that. I love you. Keep your head up and your heart out. I'll see you soon.